It all began on a day that seemed completely ordinary, the kind of day where nothing warns you that life is about to change. The officer woke up, followed his usual routine, shared a quick moment with his dog, and headed out the door like countless times before. But by midday, something felt off, an unexplainable fatigue, a tightening in his chest, and a dizziness he brushed aside as stress. Within hours, that discomfort escalated into a collapse that left everyone around him scrambling for help. Colleagues who had always relied on his strength suddenly found themselves watching him slip away, confused and terrified by how quickly it happened. What started as a routine shift transformed into a medical emergency that nobody was prepared for, and in a matter of moments, the man who had protected so many was now fighting for his own life. At the hospital, the urgency in the doctors' voices made it clear that something was deeply wrong, yet every test they ran came back clean. One specialist after another stepped in, each confident they would find the answer, only to walk out with the same puzzled expression. They checked his heart, his lungs, ran scans, ordered panels. 15 experienced doctors, all trained to solve the most complex cases, but none able to explain why his body was shutting down. With every passing hour, his condition worsened, and the room filled with an unsettling tension, the kind that grows when even experts feel powerless. The medical team wasn't giving up out of neglect, they simply couldn't see what they were missing. And as frustration grew, so did the fear that time was running out, that they were watching something slip through their fingers without understanding how to stop it. As the hours dragged on, the atmosphere around his hospital bed shifted from concern to quiet despair. The monitors kept beeping, but each sound felt heavier than the last, signaling a body that was slowly losing its strength. His family stood nearby, watching the rise and fall of his breath, trying to stay hopeful even as the doctors began having difficult conversations in lowered voices. They whispered about possibilities, about limitations, about how sometimes the body hides things too well. Every room he was moved to felt colder, every update more discouraging, and the sense of helplessness hung thick in the air. The officer himself drifted in and out, unaware of how close he hovered to the edge, unaware that even the experts were preparing for outcomes no one wanted to imagine. In that moment, hope didn't just fade, it almost disappeared completely. Amid all the confusion and fading hope, the one presence that refused to give up was his dog. From the moment he arrived at the hospital, the dog became restless, pacing, whining, and refusing to be comforted by anyone. It wasn't the kind of anxious behavior people brush off, it was focused, almost purposeful. Every time someone approached the officer's bed, the dog would push its nose toward a specific side of his torso, trying to get their attention, almost insisting that something there wasn't right. Nurses tried to guide the dog away, but it kept returning, more persistent each time, as if it could sense what none of the machines or professionals had detected. Family members began to notice the pattern, and even the staff, exhausted and frustrated by the lack of answers, found themselves pausing to watch the dog's strange, unwavering focus. Sometimes, intuition speaks louder than expertise, and this time, it was impossible to ignore. It was only when one of the nurses finally stopped and truly watched the dog's behavior that everything began to shift. She called in a doctor, not with a medical theory, but with a simple observation: look where the dog keeps pointing. At first, it sounded absurd. 15 doctors had already examined him from every angle. But desperation makes room for possibilities people normally overlook. They ran a more targeted scan, focusing exactly on the spot the dog kept returning to, and there it was, the hidden issue everyone had missed. Something small, buried, almost invisible on previous tests, now unmistakable when viewed from the right angle. The room, once filled with uncertainty, suddenly buzzed with renewed urgency as the team moved quickly to treat the real problem. What no machine detected, what no specialist identified, was uncovered by the loyalty of a dog who simply refused to be ignored. In the days that followed, the officer's condition began to improve in ways that felt nothing short of miraculous. The treatment worked, his strength slowly returned, and the fear that had filled the hallways was replaced with quiet relief. When he finally opened his eyes, the first familiar face he saw was the dog who had never once left his side. There was no dramatic moment, no words exchanged, just a deep, instinctive understanding between them, that this loyal companion had done something extraordinary. The doctors, humbled by what happened, spoke openly about how this case reminded them that healing isn't always found in data or machines. Sometimes it comes from intuition, from connection, from paying attention to the signs that don't fit neatly into charts or protocols. And as the officer took his first stable breath in days, one truth became undeniable: he was alive because someone loved him enough to notice what others couldn't.